what traits about Maurice Smith help him to win that center job? What is it that he does so well that allows guys to be such an important role?
Well, the good thing about it is we've been able to create competition at that position. It's fun to say he's won the job because he's doing a really good job right now, but he got some guys sniffing at the heels. But what Maurice does a good job of is really his athletic ability to recover in tight situations. He's been doing a good job of that. And also just learning, playing offensive line, a lot of people contribute to athleticism, length, all that kind of good stuff, which is awesome. But you got to know how to see the pictures of the game, the alignments, fronts, playing with balance. It's just like people that drive cars. They drive cars every day, but how many times have they backed in a trailer? So it's hard to do. You got to do it multiple times before you can master it. So it's just building that experience with the time we've had, and that's been the main goal, so he can see the pictures and be able to execute at a high level, because the more pictures you see, the more confidence you can play with.
Next will be Pat Vernon from the Osceola.
Hey, Coach, obviously you had mentioned early in camp that you've been impressed with Darius Washington, and you mentioned that as an elite athlete. Can you talk about his development as camp went on?
Very similar to Maurice. They both played in some games last year, but were able to redshirt, so they still have 4 full years to play. And so I like his athletic ability, just like Maurice's. It's just more seeing the pictures of the game. Can he recognize outside pressure? Does he know what to do when that end spike? And does he know how many times have he seen it? And that's what builds the confidence to play at an elite level. I've been just impressed with the tools they have to work with. Because at O-line, you can watch the Super Bowl. Guys are going to take a bad step. Guys are going to use the hands a couple of times the wrong way. Can you athletically recover in bad instances? Is what I've been impressed with those guys with.
Kurt Weiler from Tallahassee Democrat.
Hey, Coach. James last night on the TV radio show spoke pretty highly of the offensive line about the strides the unit's made. So he's really excited to kind of have the group go out and show the improvements Saturday. What can you speak to about just the general improvements, especially, I would say, since you got him back in June, July, 10 now, just the growth of the unit as a whole?
Yeah, every day is a new day. Most likely trying to instill what you did yesterday really doesn't matter. You got to come perform each day, because just like you said, we can do all this work and improve. If it doesn't show, it doesn't matter. So now it's about of seizing the opportunity to show what you've done. You can work on something your whole life, and then you get that one moment. I think about Olympics. You train all them years for one moment. So you have to, and especially in football, because you don't get many opportunities. So what I'm excited for is training them how to be in the moment. We can have 2 good practices. You have 3 bad reps. That can be critical in the game. So how to maintain that mental focus is the concentration when you're playing with guys with limited experience.
Next will be RSFL from Washington.
Hey, Coach, having been an offensive coordinator and been around other offensive coordinators, what has this staff been like in terms of Kenny and Coach Norvell in terms of preparing for a game? Do they do things, do different head coaches and coordinators do things differently? What have you seen from them as you guys prepare for an actual game?
Well, yeah, that was the big reason of not only just because it's Florida State, but who it was leading the program and the offensive success they've had together. So I came to learn, and also, being a contributor in every way I can. But what I've learned is just the details, the fundamentals. That's what surprises you most about these guys. You think you're going somewhere where they have this magic book of plays, and they're just going to bring it out when the moments come. No, it's really installing the details, the fundamentals, the reactions of the game, and building confidence in your preparation. Coach walks around with a shirt on that says the work. It's that simple. And a lot of that gets lost in this game. We like to hype the magical secret playbook plays where I've seen some of that stuff, but really it's about hand placement, second step, eyes, and reaction to what you see. And he does a great job of instilling those details.
Hey, Coach, I'm curious to get your thoughts on Brady Scott, what kind of value he brings as a reserve, given that he's starting at 4 positions on the offensive line at this point in his career. Yeah,
Brady can very easily run out there as a starter also. He's a very experienced guy. He's played multiple positions. He's fought through a lot. He's one of the pillars of the program just because he has been through the changes. He's one of the few guys, everybody talks about the coaching changes. He has been here since the start of all of them. So, and he's been on the field. He's played in those moments. He's been in those games. He was in those games on the last drive. He was in those games. So you can be excited about ability, but, experience is everything. He brings that much needed experience we have to be able to educate those guys. The best thing I've enjoyed about Brady is he is coaching those young guys through those moments. And that's valuable. You know, because, you know, as a coach, you like to think you see everything, but when they're going into those dorms and they're going into champs, and are they still applying themselves, you got to have a set of eyes there that want to succeed and want to teach those young guys how to be a college athlete. And, you know, you can't replace that.
We'll go back to Pat from Osceola.
Hey, Coach, obviously, the way we use offensive linemen has changed as offensive than the ball, and you see more and more schools rotating offensive linemen in the ball game. In a tightly contested game, what is your ideal rotation as far as number of guys that are going to play, and then how important will it be to get Robert Scott and Thomas Schrader reps in games like that?
We like, Coach Norvell, and you know, we like to have a set plan. We don't like to surprise guys because we like to give them confidence of knowing when they're going to be out there, when they're not. So if we were going to rotate, it'd be a set deal, like, hey, the third series you're going. Hey, this series you're going. And then after that, of course, it'll go by, you know, production and level of play and things like that does come in value. But everywhere I've been able to kind of have a little small rotation between 7 guys, which I think has been valuable for us, you know, and especially early in the season when it's pretty hot and just like any other position, you know. So there used to be a time when you just put your 5 out there and you lived and died with it, and some people still, you know, operate in that way. But I've had some success when I've been able to roll a couple of guys here and there.
We'll go back to Kurt from Democrat.
Athleticism may not be kind of the first word you think of with offensive linemen, but I would say especially the guys you have and kind of that depth chart fit that mold. I guess especially as the game keeps evolving, how important is that trait when you're evaluating your guys? Well,
I mean, if you watch the NFL Combine, I mean, the O-linemen look like D-linemen now. I mean, it's not. They are running, you know, sub 5 flats, and I mean, and when you say athleticism, we say that as a coverall term, but it's really the ability to recover. You know, you're going to get in some bad situations. You're going to, you know, be late on a guy crossing your face. You're going to underset a guy. He's coming off the edge. Do you have the God-given ability to recover in bad situations? Is really what we're describing when we talk about athleticism.
Next will be Aslan Harvey from Warchant.
Look, just wondering if Bavion sort of volunteered to move the guard, or if there was something you saw in this or suitable to playing guard, and just, I guess, how much more or less responsibility is it when you don't have to be a center? Is that freeing Bavion off to be a better player?
Well, no, you try to put your best 5 out there at any given time, regardless of position, and that's one thing about, you know, coaching a position where you have multiple guys on the field. You got to coach a unit, so, you know, the outside world thinks, I guess, differently. We think of more of the unit of how we got to operate when we're out there together. You know, these are the guys we're going to go out there with regardless of position, and we have to work as a unit to defeat what's in front of us, whether it be front alignment pressures and things like that, and how can we build that cohesiveness. That starts off the field. So I really didn't have to have a volunteer or I'm making you do. It's, hey, what is the best way for this unit to perform, and how do we defeat what's in front of us? And where do I need to be to do it? And the more you can instill that mentality, you'll have a lot more success as a unit than more of, you know, really negotiate, hey, do you feel comfortable? It's more of, hey, what do we need to be successful in this group, and what unit can we put out there that can defeat what's in front of us?
We'll go back to Ira from Warchant.
Coach Norvell talked about how you guys do so many things in practice to put pressure on players so that there aren't a lot of unexpected things on a game day. But you still go into a first game, kind of wondering what exactly you got with different guys, or again, because you guys are going up against such a good defensive front every day in practice, do you feel like you'll know what you have going on?
Well, yeah, there's always some optimism going in the first game because they've developed, you know, they've studied and done different things and pretty sure incorporated some different things in their defense and changed personnel. And so you have to, you know, 2 things. You're going to prepare for what you see and what you've seen in the past. But 2, you got to train reaction, and that's what you do through the situation training of, hey, if this 3 technique crosses face, what are you going to do? What is going to be your reaction? Are you going to go eyes to linebacker, eyes to end? You know, just training those reactions and those quick, sudden movements is as many times as you can. So when you do get something different, their reaction matches what they get. And at least you got some consistency in the reaction when things break down. Hey, if they bring the twist, you've seen this twist, so we're good. But what if they bring another one? Well, hey, it's the same thing with my eyes. Let my techniques and my fundamentals get me in the right place. So as many times as you can execute that, and of course with some continuity of guys doing it multiple times as much as you can is the goal.
We'll go to Terry from Tomahawk Nation.
Coach, how's it going?
Good, what's up?
So my question is, in a blocking scheme that's very multiple, you switch things up, especially going up against a defensive line in Georgia Tech that's kind of developing and new. How does that multiple blocking scheme help out your guys?
We're trying to put them in the best position possibly. You do things that they can do and they can execute at a high level. And that's what builds that confidence. So when you are changing a blocking scheme or doing something different, they got to know it's for them. Hey, I'm doing this for you can be in the best possible leverage you can be to get this executed. And that builds that belief and that confidence. So the scheme is the scheme, but it matches the product you're putting on the field. Hey, we're trying to put you in the best position we possibly can for you to have success and you to be clapping your hands and feel proud about, the job you're doing.
Go back to Adlon for more time.
Coach, with offenses wanting to go so fast to catch defenses off guard,
Mm-hmm.
and might not have to be as disciplined or as clean blocking up front when you are going so fast, has that created sort of bad habits that have offenses psych themselves out almost by trying to go so fast that maybe coming full circle and slowing things down is better for some units to accomplish their objectives?
Well, yeah, you see a lot of tempo in college football. We try to instill a deal where we want to play fast, but we don't want to play rushed. You still want to be able to execute at a high level. I understand what you're asking, saying, hey, have techniques and going down the window if you're just trying to get out the ball, get out the way, and things like that. And, we don't really do a bunch of that, I wouldn't say. So it's more, executing at a high level and being able to play fast. Now, tempo does give you an advantage, and I like, we will use some of it, but it's more of, you don't coach it. Like, I don't coach and say, hey, just get on the guy and get set. I'm still coaching it the same way, whether we're going high tempo or slow tempo, we still want to execute at a high level. So, as a coach or a position coach of it, I don't teach it that way. But as a coordinator, I do understand, you can gain some advantages with defenses not being set because they have to be gap sound. So you can create an advantage if they're not gap sound. So it might be ugly, but there's a gap in there because they have not been set and been able to close every gap. So it might not look good, but there's a gap open. So, well, yeah, as a position coach, I want that down block to be a down block no matter how fast it's going. But as a coordinator, I do see how you can create advantages by defenses not being able to cover a gap or uncover receiver.